We are here at the Amish built barn, which is oak from a quarter-mile away, and a lot of the metal's recycled. And for us as a model for how we want to create community here, 50 Amish came in the weekend and collectively put the barn up. And they call it Amish insurance because they don't have insurance. If your house burns down, Amish from 100 miles in every direction are going to show up to build your house. So instead of being dependent on large corporate parties for our security, you then fall upon your neighbors as your security. And it also gives you more meaning because you're helping your neighbors. And so the Amish that we're living around are definitely inspiring us in this vision, because without industrial society, cars, all these things allow us to live alone because we have food coming in, everything else. When we don't have machines, you need people. So part of our vision is that we'll have more people. When we go out to sow clover by hand, we need 5 people singing and throwing it instead of 1 person on a tractor. So it's more than just ecological, it's actually rebuilding culture so that we're lovingly dependent on each other. I was honored to spend time with the Siona tribe in the rainforest, and they depended on each other for life. We're in the Agua Rico in Ecuador, and someone needed to do the canoes, someone needed to get the food, and if one person didn't do it, this network fell apart and you didn't survive. But it created this bond that you see between a kingfisher and a fish, or a woodpecker and a tree. You just become part of this web again, and industrialization has broken that web, so we're all in our little house. And so we're hoping that we will be creating culture here where instead of the insurance companies, we all show up to our neighbors to help out, and that whoever has more abundance, when our crops failed, Amish pulled up with, "Oh, you lost all your corn. We got more corn and squash than we grew." And in Oregon and all these progressive places, when our crops failed, no one showed up with huge boxes. So there's something amazing around simplifying and being dependent on each other again. And that's what we want, to be humble and be dependent on. These animals on this sanctuary, the mulberry tree that feeds us, and for them to be dependent on us, that we're not going to cut down the tree or use herbicides. And so this just represents a dynamic much more than ecological. It's building social framework, building accountability to each other instead of what we've dismissed to corporate banks and to media and everything else. And so that's, in a nutshell, what we're trying to build, is a ecological social framework of interdependency, which is exciting to participate in, I think, being helped and helping others. So we were just talking about the goats and how we allow the young to feed on the mom and keep them as natural as possible as they would be in the wild, and they're just coming out from hiking on 30 acres. And I was sharing that my wife and I were vegetarian before, because obviously a good question is upliftment of all beings, and yet we're eating a rooster. So that rooster may think, wait a second, yeah, it's a nice ideal, but I'm the one getting eaten. So there's a lot of tension in vegan, vegetarian, omnivore. We host all eating choices here, and it becomes a great question. Ideally, I would rather be vegan. I'd like to let the horses go free. I would like to have no chickens and be eating fruit. But in the wintertime, being 100% local, we don't know how to do that yet. I know it's possible, but we haven't figured it out. So hopefully we're in a transition zone where the horses help us get away from the impacts of oil and cars and transition us to relearn wild edibles and relearn culture. And that hopefully, we ask them every night, I say, come, if we have it wrong, like, come to me and dream and like let me know. And every time I take a rooster, I weep in the morning and also give thanks. And it's an interesting relationship, because when I eat another being, we say around the table, like, I'm going to be so mindful about how I use this energy, trying to use it for change or peace, and realize that if something doesn't shift, all life is threatened in this moment. And so we're imperfectly trying to figure out what does the upliftment of all beings mean, and how would we live. We have someone who wants to be a raw vegan here, and could they do it with greenhouses? And a mountain gorilla eats just green, and it's 500 pounds. So it's meant to be a tension where we can all be at the table. And our first goal, I think, is let's all work together bioregionally. In Oregon, what happened is local vegans picketed and boycotted the local organic meat farm. And they're all local, but they were battling each other. And so let's first get to local and bioregional. Let's work together. And then afterwards, let's really be open with our hearts to see, okay, what one is really makes sense for our health and for the earth. And I would say that also about activism. We work with Christian nonviolence. We work with anarchist change, nonviolence. Some would be destruction of property, which we don't condone. But they go down there and they're building community gardens and bike shops in the ghettos. We don't see anyone from the eco-villages in the ghettos. Like, you are down there. My friend who came in the taxi wouldn't take him there. And there's gunshots, and they're there after school programs teaching minorities how to read. And I'm like, that's the real work. But so, because every once in a while they may choose to pickpocket from a corporate store, which isn't aligned with my belief, let's first figure out where can we work together and not have all this judgment. Where do we, yes, I'll help them start their bike shop. I'll help them get seed for their community garden. Where it's not in line, I'll step away, but 25 of them came here and we taught them the skills which we felt were peaceful. And to me, it's more dynamic and more frightening to get into those gray areas. And should I just tell them, oh no, you might hurt property, so don't come to our place? Or if they come here, one, they'll inspire me to be like, I should be in the ghetto more. And also they might be more inspired saying, wow, these people don't have to destroy property or have anger, and they're making amazing ripples. Like, trusting that the universe will cross-pollinate instead of being so rigid on our belief. And if Christian nonviolence folks can't get along with anarchists, how can Palestinians get along with Israelis? I mean, the jump of consciousness has to be so huge that we can sit at the table and really listen. Like, why are you vegan? Why are you vegetarian? Why are you omnivore? And really listen. And also honor each other's experiments in a way. And it's an excitement and challenge of this project that at the same table we have anti-religious and Christian. At the same table we have just all over the board, because we don't fit into one little box. So we have the French activists, this happened here, and then the same week with the Methodist youth group, and they're around the table, and at the end of the week both are like, wow, anti-religion folks are really nice and kind and practicing loving one another. And then the French guy can say, wow, they're really amazing kids. And they were like, you all of a sudden get rid of these blocks that are not allowing us to do that simple ask of loving one another. But it's a huge risk to jump in the trenches with everyone. She's so excited, she's falling asleep. Do you want me to tuck her head in?
Yeah.
Etta used to come on the tours.
You can take her scarf off if that's
She's been on probably 30, and by the 30th she gets so jittery. She's like, I've heard this before, Dad.